Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Arkansas Gun Guy. So I was trying to think of a theme for my next video, and I came up with what guns do I shoot the best? I've got a pretty good collection now. I shoot a lot of different guns. Some guns, I shoot all the guns okay. They're all more accurate than I am. But some guns I shoot actually quite a bit better than the others. So I thought maybe I'll pull those together and talk about them and see if you guys have similar experiences. So again, I'll kind of highlight the guns here, but I would love to hear from you guys if you have similar experiences with what I'm going to talk about. Because as I started talking about, I pulled out like a compact, a carry, a full-size gun, and I've got a couple target guns. A theme emerged, if you can't tell from the clever title. And again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this subject. So the first gun I pulled out was my compact, which is my CZ75 PCR. This is the miniature version of the CZ75. PCR is Police Czech Republic, and this version happens to have a decocker and not anything fancy up here. But again, this is just a miniature version of one of the original Wonder 9s. So this is a gun that has not a super long sight radius. Sights are actually kind of short on here. They're anti-snag. So nothing special about the sights, but I just shoot this gun for a gun this size better than all the other little subcompacts that I have right out of the box. And I shoot it consistently. And guess what? It has an inverted rail system. You can see that the slide rides inside of the rails there. So most of the slides are on the outside, but this guy has the inverted rail system, and for a small gun, I shoot it the best. Again, this just kind of happened naturally. I wasn't thinking about it until I pulled it all together, because the second gun I pulled out was like a carry gun, and this is a used gun I found at a local gun store I'd read about, and again, once I found it, I've been incredibly surprised with it, and that is my Chris Sphinx SDP Special Duty Pistol. Again, this is also a 9mm, a little bit longer sight radius, also has the front and rear cocking serrations. This guy has got a Gucci trigger in there. And on my last review, several people commented, this guy looks very much like a CZ P210, only on steroids. And it is. Very unique gun. It has a polymer grip, aluminum frame, and steel slide. So mixed materials there that makes this guy, I think the combination of this guy also having the inverted rail system and this Gucci trigger in here, this guy is a nail driver. It is boringly accurate. Absolutely, it will outshoot anything else I have, really bigger than it as well. A fantastic shooting gun, again, also with that inverted rail system. So the next gun I have is a full-size gun, and you guys have heard me talk about this guy ad nauseum, but it is a gun that every time I take to the range, people like shoot it like, whoa, what is that? And it is my IWI Jericho 941. Full-size gun, super long sight radius, sleek lines. This one doesn't have front serrations, you can tell. It does have a pick rail, but a very sleek looking gun. And this is, as I understand it, one of the better CZ75 clones. The CZ75s are full-size like this. They have the inverted rail, just like this guy. But again, this is a gun that has a really good trigger, not a Gucci trigger like the last gun, but it's a very good trigger that eats recoil and is just a fantastic shooter. And I'm not lying. Every time I go to the range, this is the one gun that people like, what is that? And they want to keep shooting this one the most. So, and then finally, for like a big gun, a 5-inch barrel, like a target gun, this is actually the gun that started it all. These things have been called CZ75 clones because of the inverted rail and the way they look. But Sig Sauer with the 210 series actually invented or started the whole inverted rail thing with their 210 that went into production in the late 40s. But in the late 30s, they actually bought the patent and design with the lockup system and inverted rails from a French company. And then from the late 30s to late 40s, worked on it and started production in 1948, I believe. CZ75s came out in 1975. So the CZ75 inverted rail system is actually an evolution of the P210. No one ever talks about that, but this gun, just for a moment, is the best shooter of them all. Even my beloved Jericho has a much longer sight radius, 5-inch barrel, like 8-mile slide with ridiculous sights. And I think the best trigger on the planet, better than any 1911 I've ever shot. It's a single action only. This gun is, as far as production triggers go and production guns, I think is one of the best on the planet from everything I've read and everything I've ever handled. But again, you can see here, guess what? Inverted rail system. So again, these, I think they fit my hand well. I think they're easy to point, and I think they are easy to shoot consistently because of the low slide mass coming back. So the magic of this inverted rail is that the rail sits down lower, gives you a lower bore axis. Let me get the IWI, I think it's a little better visual. Actually, I'll take my CZ75. So here you can see this guy, when the slide reciprocates, you have this mass coming back, but it's not as much as, let's say, the slides from a SIG P210. These guys have notoriously high bore axis. Axis. What's the plural of axis? Anyway, they sit really high on the gun. And you can see that you have this much mass sliding back at you, which helps create muzzle flip. The CZ75s, or these inverted rail guns, only have this much mass coming back. So a big difference between here and, say, a SIG or a Glock or any other Walther. Major difference in the amount of mass coming back at you. So that helps really eat the muzzle flip that comes back. So I think that's one of the things that are magic about these guns. They all have great triggers, some ridiculous triggers, but that recoil system I think is phenomenal. The only negatives I've ever read about any of these guns, and they're both valid points, is that with that low mass coming back, there's not a lot of real estate to grab onto. Again, the SIG, you can put both hands on here and grab it and rack it. The CZs, they're much harder to get a hold of. You only have this much room right here. And for that reason, most of these things have really aggressive serrations that will allow you to rack it, but they're painful, and it is harder. Valid point. So that's one knock. And the other knock I hear is they are harder to clean, and also a very valid point, because they all require you to usually align the slide to something, the slide and the barrel. Just going to do this with a light here. There's a notch. It's hard to do upside down. There's a notch on the slide and a notch on the barrel. You have to line those up, and while doing that, you have to push this dot through on the other side to pull out the slide catch. I won't do it on camera because you guys have seen me doing other videos, but pulling this back, popping that out, is complicated. It ain't impossible, but it's harder than, like, again, a SIG 320. So hard to take apart, hard to rack, but boy, they shoot like magic. So again, just a quick video to celebrate, to appreciate the awesomeness that I think inverted rail firearm provides. Love to hear your feedback. Do you love them? Do you hate them? What inverted rail gun do you like? I need to get a real full-size CZ75. I need to get a CZ P210, and I am going to start obsessing over SIG P210s because I'd like to find an old German or Swiss one, or several of them. As always, thank you guys so much for watching the Arkansas Gun Guy. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. It helped me get out of my basement and upstairs to make gun videos in the house. Thanks.